Alright, welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, classic, let's known classic. This is episode number 3023 and Doubleshot number 2917. So, this one, we are going to end Volume 3 for Green Lantern, discussing the last 17 issues of this book. 65 through 165 to 181. Now, 165 to 175 is written by Ben Rabb with Dale Inglesham on the artwork. The remaining 6 issues of this book is done by Ron Martz, the guy who started off this particular run of Kyle Rayner as the Green Lantern. The main reason the book ended at this point in time, from what I can tell, is because Jeff Johns came over to Green Lantern and wanted to bring back Hal Jordan. That was probably the reason for it. Though, basically, Kyle's story would continue on in this series, Ion, and then he kind of moved over to the Green Lantern Corps after that. I'll discuss Ion at another point. I'll discuss basically another time. But in these issues, you have Kyle basically, well, being a space cop. Just fighting other alien species, and he's also working with a female guardian, who is this big, muscular woman named Lelina, who wears barely anything. She wears just basically a string, just barely enough to cover her breast, her groin area, and her rear end. So you could say she is walking around mostly butt naked. Kind of in a way, but this is probably the best way that the artist can censor it. Now, she is original to this run. Yes, of course, that when Kyle brought back the Green Lanterns, he also, in a way, when he brought back the actual Guardians, he also, in these issues, Kilowog is resurrected. Yes, Kilowog is resurrected, and he is not exactly back being full Green Lanterns yet, per se, but I definitely think, basically, if anybody's reading this point in time, this is a smart idea of Ben Rabb to do this. They also keep it in here about Kyle Rayner's assistant, David, who is in a relationship with another guy. They still keep that going, which I'm glad the fact they kept that going, because that was a pretty interesting idea. I mean, having an original gay character in a Green Lantern book, at least not the main character out of this gay. So then while Kyle's away, Jay proceeds to get another guy in her life, and, well, she kind of cheats on him. And then finally when he comes home, he arrives home, basically, about to take a shower, and the guy is in the shower, and Jade's like, what is he doing in my apartment? You mean my apartment? Yeah, so they got in disagreement, and he left. Over the fact that she cheated on him with another guy. And also the fact we also have John Stewart, he's back being Green Lantern, he's part of the Justice League at this point in time. And he's dating the blue alien girl from the Dark Star series. He dated her very briefly in this book. She tried to get a job, but the guy is like, you can get a job in porn. So her response is to grab his tie. His response is to call security. I'm like, yeah, she had every right to do that because you're being a sexist pig. Think of the fact that a beautiful woman like her, oh, she can't apply whatever job basically applying for. Oh, she only get a job in porn. I'm like, if basically in a situation like that, I would probably have written it where instead of grabbing his tie, I would have her basically punch him for daring to suggest that, and basically him being called a sexist pig. Eventually, sadly, she decides to leave John, sadly, in a Dear John letter. And it's a pretty interesting set of issues for Ben Rabb to do. And then right after he leaves, we bring in basically Ron Martz again, who has it where, in the story, Fatality is released from prison by a mysterious government agent who turns out to be Major Force. Yes, Ron Martz decided to basically do this as sort of in a way to end this book by having Kyle Rayner beat the crap out of Major Force. At one point, because he works with the government, he can't even attack him, but he does eventually fight him. And, by the way, Kyle does inform John Stewart, that fatality is at prison, the same woman who crippled him. Though for some reason the artist did not remember what she looked like because here's the thing, Fatality is a black woman, and for some reason they decided to make her an alien for reasons where she looked completely different. Like I saw, like, wait, this is Fatality? No, wait, this can't be Fatality. Where she's like gold skin. I'm like, wait a minute, why the heck did she have like this for? And of course the writing says she is Fatality. Appearance wise, that's not Fatality. It's just some random woman who just looks like her. Yeah, she's written to be like her, but the appearance is all wrong. Though she's back to prison. Oh, and by the way, Kyle tries to just apparently there's no place for him. Not sure why that's written that way, but it is. Eventually, he does fight Major Force to the point where he takes him to space and pretty much the way decapitates him. And he cauterizes the wound, sends his head off to space, and he is not seen again. By the way, prior to this, he goes. By the way, his mom is in the issues, and at one point he visits her once again. Of course, she finds out that her son is basically Green Lantern. Then he's like, "Oh crap!" Basically, he's like, "Where's his mom?" He opens the fridge, like, "Oh, thank God, not the fridge." And he's like, "You think I put the same trick twice?" And it turns out she's in the freaking oven. Yes, Ron Martz wrote it, where where he set the woman, I think it was supposed to be Kyle's mom, in the oven. I think it must have been some other woman. I'm like, why the heck were they writing this way for? I don't freaking know why he did it for. He killed some woman, basically, like that. It's like, yeah, let's basically have him do the same trick twice. For, well, attempt anyways. Yeah, here I'm looking at basically Fatality here. It's like, yeah, the appearance does not match what Luke Ross is basically doing in the book. Basically, I think it was some brunette, basically, who died. And then, of course, it just, well, ends with basically him defeating him. And, of course, Kyle next appears in Green Lantern Rebirth. In case you're curious, though, when was the first issue released for Ion? Ion was released in 2006. Roughly about 2 years. Let's see, November. Let's see, this came out in September of 2004. And the Ion first issue came out in April, so about 2 years later. So when this book wrapped up, he basically later appeared in Green Lantern Rebirth. Yeah. It's like the whole thing basically with this book, like I said, was just to, yeah, released in November. Of course, this was released like, let's see. The final issue of this book was released September. And then like issue 1 was released like the following month. And what happened to Kyle after this story wrapped up? Excuse me. He basically later became part of the Green Lantern Corps book. That's pretty much the way what he did next. He basically appeared in the second volume for Green Lantern Corps. Which was started by Dave Gibbons. Yep. Well, in the relaunch book, he disappeared in the book in issue 8. He was very sporadic in the very next one. First time he appeared in Green Lantern Corps, does not appear until issue number 19. Yeah, he does not become part of the main Green Lantern book in issue 19. That's kind of what happened with him. Which is during the Sinestro Corps, which happened in 08. So I think, like, right after Rebirth, I think, like, the very next thing for him to do that happened, like, right after this came out, which was in May of 05. I think he later did Green Lantern Recharge. Yeah, I think that was the very next thing he worked on, was this very book. Yeah, then he did this very mini-series. He was practically the start of this book. And he was here up until issue 5, which is the final issue of the book. Which came out March of 2006. Yep. And I think, like, maybe, no, like, I think Ion came out, like, the very following month. Yeah, so basically, I think, like, yeah, Ion came out roughly, like, 1 month later. Like, basically, let's see, April, and Recharge issue 5 was in January. So just a few months after the conclusion of this very book is when he appeared in Ion. I'll be discussing Ion next time we talk about this book. Talk about basic Green Lantern. After I do Ion, the plan is to do Guy Gardner, his stuff, and Mosaic, and a bunch of other books. But in the case of these issues, they're actually really good. And I give Green Lantern Volume 3, issues 165 to 181, a 9 out of 10. Strange enough, these issues are not in trade. Nope, none. There's not even an omnibus for this stuff. Yeah, this one doesn't get a lot of love for some reason. You'd think they would, but nope, not really. I don't know the reason for that, but that's kind of where it is. Final thoughts on Green Lantern Volume 3, which lasted from 1990... Let's see how long this book lasts for. Which lasted for quite a while. It lasted from June of 1990 and was concluded in November... Well, let's see. It was started April of 1990, and the final issue was released in September of 2004. So this book published for 14 years. I mean, it took a little while to get this book, but now it's all done. And this was a lot of fun reviewing this book. A lot of interesting stuff for this book. I love the Kyle Rayner stuff. I kind of wish basically they would do more, like, there should be more trades for him. My gosh. Like, it's a shame the man never seen more trades for himself. Yeah, you had the there was basically supposed to be a volume 3 that got canceled. Yeah, it got canceled for like no reason. I'm like, why? Why did the book get canceled for? Yeah, it made no freaking sense. The fact the book got canceled for like seemingly no reason. I don't really know exactly why the third trade was canceled. It just was. It was a really weird thing here. Mm-hmm. And DC just never bothered. It's like DC just didn't want to do anything with it at all. I mean, aside from the three trades that collect the Kyle Rayner book, is there actually like any other trades for him? Aside from those 3 books, the second one, third one was canceled. There was also, well, there's Emerald Allies, which I collected issues 76, 77, 92, and Green Arrow Volume 2, which is 104, 110, 111, 125, 126. Emerald Knights, which was basically issues 99 to 106 of Grand Theft Volume 3, and Green Arrow Volume 2, 136, which was, I think, was like the penultimate issue of the book. The Joe Winnick run is pretty much in trade. Yeah, that's like the only writer's run who got their whole run in trade was Judd frickin' Winnick. And I'm like, really? His run's in trade, but I'm like, everybody who wrote Kyle Rayner. And yet his run is pretty much all in trade. Which begs the question of like, okay, so is the reason why that DC couldn't bother to finish collecting this? I have no freaking idea. It is one of the most strangest things related to this book. The fact that early on there's not much trades. You have Green Intelligence Volume 1, which collected 2 miniseries. Then you had Roll Back, which collected the first 8. And that was it. You're like, really? Yeah, really. When it's not basically Hal Jordan being villains like his early stuff. Oh, I think they also collected his issue for as part of the Radiant Superman stuff, but not a lot of this. Like, I would say close to about 40% of this run is in trade, but not the whole thing of it. And with that, Volume 3 is completed. It was a really good... I don't think the volume was bad. No. Despite the fact the book at one point basically was not selling too well when Hal Jordan was there, I think the issues were terrible. I think Joe Jones did an excellent job with the book. Ron Martz did just basically what he was told to do. The Kyle Rayner stuff was amazing. And it's interesting, too, that Ron Martz came back exactly like 100 issues after he left. Yep. But with that, Volume 3 is done. Next up, basically, is Legion of Superheroes, Volume 3, issues number 14 through 30, on with the first 2 annuals. One of the storylines of this book, by the way, the book is written by Paul Levitz, with Steve Lytle, who's basically the writer, who's the artist of these issues. And mostly put, we have the Legion of Substitute Heroes join the roster. Yes. You're like, really? Yeah, really. Yeah, they kind of in a way added the members of the kind of basically the they added Polar Boy, who I think was part of the Legion of he was part of Legion of Substitute Heroes. Yeah, I found it interesting though the fact they actually added him part of the team. given the fact that his team was basically a team of like rejected members, and yet he joined the roster. He was not the other one. They also had Talus. Yeah, he was an original character. He actually was debuted this issue. They also had Quintessent, a freaking robot. We also have Magnetic Kid, which his costume is he's basically Cosmic Boy's brother, and well, he's here for a while. It's interesting that they allow him to do a team. Yeah. Which makes him like the second sibling of an actual member to join the team. I mean, the first being, of course, Lightning Lass. We also have the first appearance of Mantilla. Yeah, she's a woman who basically is part of the group. Yeah, she sadly gets killed off by issue 26 by the Emerald Empress, who came back to the series. Yeah, the beautiful Emerald Empress. You know, a creation of the awesome Jim Shooter. Yep, she makes her epic return to the book. Yeah, with issue 21. Yeah, she comes back at 21, and she's back here for additional 3 issues, and then she disappears for a little while. Yes, one of the most important villains in important characters in Legion history. And they also deal with Dark Circle again. Yes, the Supernatural group, who they fought in the previous volume for the book. Yes, they brought him back for this book for just 1 issue. But they're not here for the rest of the volume, thank God. They're basically back doing sci-fi stuff, which thank God they were. Love the cover by Steve Lively. It's so freaking good. There's even some stuff here focused on Wildfire. Yeah, he gets a ton of time basically for these issues, which is something. Yes, and also Timberwolf, who came back to the team. During these issues, he tried to rekindle a relationship with Lightning Lass. But she's like, nope, not interested. But she had to reject him for, basically, she actually had very reluctant to reject him. We also have Sunboy's arch enemy, Dr. Regulus, make a return to the book. Yeah, and he's only in this book for 3 issues. Yeah, this was the first time he appeared in the book since issue 286. He's back here for 15, 16, 18. There's also not much stuff here with basically like there's stuff here also a little bit with Supergirl. Yeah, Supergirl basically. This is just I think basically they're teasing at this point the death of Supergirl in this book, which eventually the book does become part of a tie-in with the Legion of Superhero with not Legion with Crisis on Infinite Earths. And I love basically issue 17's cover, which is a clear nod to the World 1 Plus with Uncle Sam. What's called New Beginning with Greg LaRocque on the artwork. Yeah, it's only issue technically. It's like just. It's technically superheroes, but they don't want to less them as much. And then we have issue number 18, which is Return of the Infinite Man. Yeah, an old member, old enemy of the Legion. Yeah, he didn't really appear a lot over the years. Not really. This was his solo appearance for quite a while. He didn't return in issue 50. Last time he appeared was actually Superboy 233. They also take on, of course, Dr. Regulus, also Hunt II, Organist, Pursuer. Well, actually, Pursuer has helmet in these issues. Silver Slasher, Sun Emperor, Titania, and Valdis. Valdis also takes a role in the second annual of the book. Yeah, then issue 19, take on Tyre, who was an enemy of Legion. Well, he's an old enemy of theirs. Yeah, he made his return to the book. First time since Legion of Superheroes 240. Well, he did appear previously in issue number 5. And after issue 20, he's not seen again for the rest of the book. Yeah, after these 2 issues, 1920, he is never seen again. Aside from a quick guest appearance in issue number 8 of Superman Volume 2. Though I think it may be a flashback. Yeah, so I think like his next action official appearance would be in the Final Crisis Legion 3 Worlds book. So yeah, he's back here for these 2 issues. To kick some, basically just to deal with him. He's a really interesting villain per se. And then moving on to issue number. Also, there's occasional backup issues like Night Madness, which focuses on stuff related to the girls. Yeah, 21, like I mentioned, is also the return of Empress. And the backup story is more stuff with the wildfire stuff. Yeah. Yeah, and they also did with Return of Universo. Another one, he basically is a Green Lantern. He's kind of an evil Green Lantern who basically fights the Legion. Yeah, he previously issue 10, and he's only here for not much more time. Here's a little more in Volume 4 as a recurring character than he does in this volume. And there's stuff here also with... We also have the first appearance of the Pocket Universe Superboy. Yeah, he makes his first appearance in this issue. It's like... I think like the Paul Levitz wanted to include Superboy, but they had to create this alternate universe. They had to create this alternate one because they needed Superboy in the book. Because also we had this... we also have, believe it or not, this is one character in the group called Persona, Sonar Girl. Yeah, and they reveal in the finale of these issues she's actually Princess Projectra. Yeah, they reveal this a little bit later. They reveal this in like issue like 30. Actually, 26 is when they reveal basically who she really is. Yeah, 26 wraps up that story arc. Of course, Mensela dies. And it's a really cool set of issues with basically the Emerald Empress. And then basically they go home. You have more stuff here. They also keep mentioning the book, Ultra Boy can only use like one power at a time. Yeah, and as for his relationship, oh yeah, by the way, the science officer, yeah, she basically still appears in the book. Yeah, we get more time goes on when it comes to Sava Aaron. But she's definitely in the issues. She doesn't do a lot per se. Not really, no. Yeah, basically these issues she does very, very little. But gotta admit, these are excellent issues. I loved every single one of them. And book called Legion of Superheroes. Book doesn't lie. But we're not done just yet when it comes to Legion. Let's talk about two annuals. The first annual, basically, the tribe who killed Laura Kent. Yeah, she's basically someone, and yeah, the main antagonist story turns out to be, believe it or not, somehow alive, Professor Ivo in the 30th century. Excuse me. Yeah, and as for the second annual, the second annual is a bit interesting. When this focuses on, um, Darkseid makes appearance in this annual for reasons. Yeah, but basically also involves basically Lightning Lad's son. Yeah, and also Veldis is here too. But I thoroughly enjoy these issues. I'm going to give these issues roughly a 9 out of 10. Yep. So yeah, this took a view. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and do this like button. Well, I got a stream to do in a few minutes, so I'll see you all probably tomorrow. Okay, next video. Bye.